our minds jump to all sorts of places. Oh, we could get killed, we could get this, we could get that. That's all just speculation. And I don't know, it's just kind of your mind running wild. The facts are that there's going to be a ton of police there.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll separate us from the counter-protesters. Because they don't want a riot breaking out right in front of their hospital.
Yeah.
We're going to be extremely peaceful. The other side is not peaceful.
Right.
They don't allow conversation. All we want to do is have conversation. Everyone who's with me is going to be peaceful and quiet and not confrontational. And I'll have a talk with them beforehand as well to make sure they're that way. But I don't think there's anything to worry about because there's a huge police presence. If I was by myself in the middle of the night,
yeah,
or on a Friday night, like in Montreal, it was 7 p.m. on a Friday night, I was by myself. That's more dangerous because, yeah, Antifa can come and get me without any consequences, but this is going to be at noon on a Sunday with a huge police presence, so I don't think there's much to worry. I don't get scared by all these crazy people. Most of them are deceived. Most of these people, if I could sit down with them one-on-one, even all these people that are going to be at the counter-protest, if I could sit down with them for half an hour, we'd be fine. But they're swallowing lies. They don't want to know the truth. They like being in their bubble. And for a lot of these people on the left side of the political spectrum, they're not permitted to have any alternate viewpoints. They all have to have the same opinions. And they do. They all have the same opinions about all these different subjects. They have the same opinions about abortion. They have the same opinions about every single political issue, about immigration, about masks, about vaccines, everything. They're not independent thinkers whatsoever, so it's hard to reach those people. And I really don't worry about reaching these people because they're a small minority of the population. We just need to reach the 90% that still have no idea what's going on. But most of these people too, I don't have any hatred for them. I just think they're deceived.
Yes.
It's kind of like they're in a cult. And I get it. The human mind is a very fallible thing. So there's no animosity towards them, even though they might want to kill me. And eventually one day they'll look back on this and they'll realize they were on the wrong side of history. But when you've got the entire medical establishment and the entire Democratic Party trying to vilify everyone who is speaking up against the huge child abuse scandal that we're in, it's gonna be ugly before it gets solved.
Who are very much taken in by this right side of history argument and the claim that is made by those who are on the transgender side of it is this one of those causes, like civil rights, that we, will remember is sterilizing children going to be remembered as one of those causes, or is it going to be seen in the light of recovered memory, of eugenics?
Lobotomies. 100%. But lobotomies, I read up on them just the other day. I knew about them, but I was just reviewing more. I think they only did about 5,000 lobotomies in the United States. It's not that big of a number.
Yeah.
Most of these were done by a few doctors. This is way more widespread.
Yeah.
This is being pushed by all the American medical associations. Lobotomies were made popular in the media, just as this is made popular in the media. But that was just a few people, really. And the inventor of the lobotomy actually won the Nobel Prize in medicine.
Yes.
It was then revised a little. The original lobotomy, they drilled holes through the skull to get to the prefrontal cortex. The guy in America that revised it just put ice picks in through the orbital sockets. And society went along with this as a great thing.
Right.
Because a few people who were really dealing with whatever psychotic issues appeared to get better right away.
Well, it's because...
Just as this girl in Holland, in the Netherlands, the one girl that started the Dutch protocol, she said she was happier a year later.
Right.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. Well, the Dutch protocol is a few dozen, right? Like 70 people. But there was a different population.
It was a totally different cohort. It was children which we would describe as having legitimate gender dysphoria. So
Like persistent, starting
young,
very young.
persistent. I think Dr. Miriam Grossman defines it the best in Matt Walsh's film What is Woman. She calls it an intense loathing of one's sex that starts young. And traditionally this affected boys 2-to-1
Yes.
over girls. But it lasted throughout adolescence. And as part of the Dutch protocol, they were screening out other comorbidities.
Yes.
So if a girl was cutting or she had anorexia, they weren't just going to treat her for gender issues. Right? There's underlying mental health issues going on there. And they weren't giving cross-sex hormones until 16 years of age. When this was imported into the United States, and it started, by the way, at Boston Children's Hospital, first gender clinic. Laura Edwards-Leeper, who is speaking out against the practices today about how all these kids aren't getting any mental health assessments and everything. She was one of the original physicians at the Boston Children's Hospital. She trained under the people who started the Dutch protocol.
Yes.
But when it came to America, they ignored all the requirements really for mental health assessments and screening out all these comorbidities. And then they lowered the age continually. And now we're at the point today where WPATH doesn't even have any age requirements. And they put in their new standards of care that before surgery, at whatever age, that these children should be on gender-affirming hormones. So the opposite sex's hormones for a year.
Yeah.
That's what they say. Then in the very next sentence they say, unless the child doesn't want to be. Or unless the patient doesn't want to be. They don't say the word child. But it's for children, it's for young adults, it's for whoever.
On issue after issue, there are simply no breaks and no capacity for moderation on any of this. And they seem unable to just say, and the thing is that they have the power to do it. And the people who see what all responsible institutions should regard as normalcy, normal caution, especially with a child, those people are on the street. Right? Everyone on the inside has been cowed into silence.
Right. You've got regular parents.
Yeah.
You've got blue-collar workers speaking out truthfully about medical malpractice. And all the doctors are going along with it. You don't need to have a medical background to know that we shouldn't be sterilizing autistic kids.
Yes.
This isn't that controversial. And you don't need a medical background to read the stories of all these now thousands of detransitioners who, I mean, they're the voices we need to be platforming, because they're the ones telling how they were struggling with other issues, and on their very first appointment they were just fast-tracked into this medical treadmill of puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and then surgery. So now they're having deep regrets, and their bodies are destroyed, and they can't have children, and their dating pool has been reduced to zero.
Well, what they can try to do is what they're doing, right? Like to intimidate and terrorize everyone into dating them. Right. But
that just doesn't work in reality.
Gays and and lesbians and the mainstream